Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to do a really quick review on a book that I read earlier this year called Passing by Nella Larson. This book was published in 1929. Nella Larson is an African American writer, so any old books that I can find written by African American authors, I just devour them. So the book is called Passing, and passing is the concept of a person of one race living as another race. And in most situations, it's normally someone who is of African American descent who can pass for a white person. And so they integrate themselves into white society, they live as a white person, and no one knows that they're actually black. So in this particular book, it's about these two women who went to high school together. Both of them could pass for white, except that one of them, Irene, chooses to live as a black woman, and the other one, Claire, chooses to live as a white woman. Irene moves off to Harlem, New York, where she lives her life as a black woman. She gets married to a black man. She raises her two children as young African American men, and she's involved with I think during the setting of the book, during this time in the book, the Harlem Renaissance was in its highest. And so there was this huge explosion of an appreciation of black culture, black music, black dances, black theater, just this huge appreciation of black culture. This movement was just like running crazy in New York, and I think in other parts of the country as well, of course, but not the South. So Irene is really very much involved in the Harlem Renaissance. She's very much involved in black issues. She's very much involved with the progression of black culture. Now, in Chicago, where Claire ended up moving to, she's living her life as a high society white woman. She's married to a white man, but not just any white man. She's actually married to a racist white man who does not like black people at all. And she has a daughter with her husband, and she's raising her daughter as to be, Caucasian. So Irene and Claire run into each other in Chicago. I think Irene was visiting Chicago. They run into each other at this restaurant, and Irene can tell that Claire is passing as white, living as a white woman, and so Irene doesn't really care for that because she lives her life, unapologetically black. She really doesn't care for this at all, and they kind of reestablish their friendship. Claire ends up inviting Irene to her home for tea. When they go to her home to have tea, Claire's husband walks in unexpectedly, and Irene is automatically, put on guard because she knows that she can pass for a white woman, and she knows that Claire's husband sees her as a white woman, but she's still really worried that he might find out that she's not actually white. And during this time, when the husband is there, he refers to his wife Claire. He calls her by this pet name of Nig. So when the husband leaves, I think Irene asks Claire, "Why does your husband, call you Nig? And doesn't he think you're white?" And she says, "Yeah, he thinks I'm white, but he calls me Nig because, I've gotten a little bit more tan. So because I've gotten a little bit darker, he calls me Nig," which is short for the obvious. So this whole book is centered around these two women's friendship and how Irene, like I said before, lives her life as a black woman, as a proud black woman, whereas Claire lives her life primarily as a white woman, but is drawn to black culture. So she will always, any chance that she gets, Claire will sneak off to Harlem from Chicago to go visit and stay with Irene, because when she is in Harlem with Irene, she lives her life as a black woman. And she is very much involved with the black culture in Harlem. She absolutely loves it. She can't get enough of it. She's always sneaking away to Harlem every chance that she gets. And Irene really resents her for multiple reasons. One of them being that, Claire is sort of like playing both sides. When it's convenient for her, when she wants to go back to her rich husband, she can just slide right back into white society. No one's the wiser that she's a black woman. She gets all the privileges and advantages of being a white woman. And then when she gets tired of that and she wants a little bit more spice in her life, she runs off to Harlem and she, experiences life in Harlem as a black woman. And Irene really resents that because there are people obviously. There's black people who can't do that, who can't flip the script like that, who can't take advantages of white society and the advantages of white privilege and then go back to black society. They can't do that. They're always black 24/7. And in racist America, this is still 1920s America, a lot of black people were suffering the consequence of being black in America. There were lynchings, rapes, all kinds of things, dealing with everyday segregation, everyday racism, everyday prejudice, not being able to advance in society, just dealing with all the issues of being black. And here you have this woman who, whenever she feels like it, she takes the good out of the black culture. She likes going to the nightclubs and she likes all the fun part about being black in Harlem, but she doesn't want to deal with the consequences of being black. And when she gets tired of that and she has to go back home, she runs back home to her white husband and she snuggles in real comfortably back into white society. So their friendship is very, very strained because of this and for other reasons as well. And it was just a really interesting read to see two women who could both pass for white and how different their lives were because one chose to be black and one chose to be white. And it was a really good book. It had a really tragic ending. It was a really sad ending, but all in all, I was deep in it. I was deep in it. And it took me about, I think maybe 2 or 3 days to finish the whole book. It was an easy read for me and I really enjoyed it. And that's all that I wanted to talk about is Passing by Nella Larson. If you want to check it out, it's obviously on Kindle, on Amazon. You can get it through Kindle. You can buy the actual physical book. Very, very, very good book. And that's it. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.